and Julia Sondu, showing you where development is happening. Please come and join us. Senegal's fury over delayed election adds to West Africa unrest. President delays vote by a year, critics call it a coup. Country has been bastion of democracy in region led by juntas. Senegal is teetering on the brink of crisis after lawmakers voted to delay elections and extend the final term of President Macky Sall by nearly a year, a move opponents have characterized as a constitutional coup. In a region that has seen 7 military takeovers and at least 4 attempts by security forces to oust civilian leaders in the past 3 years, the events of this week have cast a pall over Senegal's reputation as among the most stable democracies in West Africa. Sall's government has in recent days detained 2 presidential candidates, arrested 3 opposition lawmakers, and cut off mobile internet access across the country. Suddenly, Senegal is a new risk for democracy in Africa. US, African and international partners should join to help Senegalese defend constitutional rule. The sudden actions by Senegal's president to postpone this month's presidential election by 10 months threaten to seriously undermine political stability and peace in a nation that has been a resilient democracy in West Africa, where multiple military coups d'état have occurred in recent years. This move poses risks of authoritarianism. Friends of Senegal and democracy and economic setbacks for Senegal's 17 million people, and deeper regional insecurity. People to maintain peaceful, freely elected democracy under its constitution. Senegal's vital role. Senegal has been a valuable international partner for peace and democracy since its independence in 1960, one of few nations in Africa that has never suffered a military coup. At home, Senegal has used its constitution, regular elections and peaceful transfers of government authority to build a democracy rooted in a social consensus that respects communal and religious pluralism. To be sure, that democracy has remained a work in progress. Senegalese civic leaders warn that recent changes to election rules and politically motivated prosecutions of opposition leaders have constricted democratic competition. Senegal's people are among the most adamant in Africa in preferring democracy as their mode of governance, according to repeated surveys by the independent research group, Afrobarometer, but most Senegalese say their democracy has been weakened in the past 5 years. Senegal's stability has grown only more important over recent years, in which disparate insurgencies and 8 armed coups around the Sahel region have left 150 million people under military rule. A critical threat to African and international stability is a spread of crises from the Sahel, now the world's largest contiguous region of military rule, across the immensely more populous coastal West African states such as Senegal. Let us make no mistake, the perils of the moment are high. Flirting with crisis. Senegal's 4th president, Macky Sall, has led the government since 2012 and promised to respect the constitutional limit of 2 terms in office, which requires the election of his successor before his mandate expires in April. With that election just 3 weeks away, on February 25, President Sall announced on Saturday a decision to postpone the vote indefinitely. Sall cited risks from disputes over which candidates can be listed on the ballot, disputes that his administration and a presidentially appointed constitutional council have largely created by barring prominent opposition figures or their parties from the electoral process. On Monday, the National Assembly voted to delay elections until December 15, a step that would carry Senegal onto dangerous, unpredictable terrain, an unconstitutional extension of Sall's presidency. Worse, that parliamentary vote was marred by the authorities' forcible removal beforehand of legislators who were protesting the proposed election delay, and by other government steps to suppress the public outcry over the postponement. The government cut cell phone access to the internet and suspended broadcasts of an independent television channel, drawing protests from the National Journalists Union. The election postponement triggered immediate street protests, citizens' confrontations with riot police and arrests. Prominent Muslim and Catholic clerics are among the civil society leaders who have urged the government to adhere to the electoral calendar. This threat of an unconstitutional and illegal political maneuver risks deeper crises, including political upheaval, a declaration of emergency rule, a military coup, and with it all, economic losses and human suffering. To see the dangers, we need look no further than Senegal's neighbor, Guinea. There, President Alpha Condé served the constitutional limit of 2 terms in office, and then used his office to arrange a disputed 2020 referendum to remove that limit, even though more than 80% of Guineans supported it, according to Afrobarometer's survey data. Condé won his extension of power but so damaged his country's democratic institutions that he was overthrown the next year in a military coup. In the past decade, more than a dozen African heads of state have altered constitutions or otherwise undermined 2-term limits to extend their hold on power. Experts have noted a weakening of democratic governance that has often triggered coups. Recent events, plus research data, underscore that Senegal has been on this path of democratic erosion. Fewer than half of Senegalese say they're satisfied with the way democracy works in the country, a significant decline compared to 2014, the research group Afrobarometer noted this week, and a majority think the country is less democratic than it was 5 years ago. While most citizens say their president must always obey the country's laws and courts, a growing share say their president ignores them. Both in Africa and beyond, the international community has too often responded ineffectually, and too late, to these early stages of democratic erosion. The sudden risk of democratic collapse in Senegal is an imperative moment in which to do better. How to support a democracy appropriately? The economic community of West African states, the African Union, the US government, plus human rights, pro-democracy and journalists' organizations, have spoken up in support of the Senegalese insistence on sustaining democracy through free elections. International partners must now follow up with consistent, high-level mobilization, a unified campaign with Senegal's political constituencies, business leaders, religious communities and civil society, to support steps such as these. An agreement, negotiated among Senegal's political constituencies and validated by Senegal's Constitutional Council, to ensure that President Sall steps down at the end of his constitutional term in April, and that elections are held on a schedule congruent with Senegalese law. Encouragement from Senegal's business community and labor organizations for political leaders and forces to ensure the dialogue and concessions necessary to reach agreements on peaceful, legal elections and a transfer of power. Economic leaders should underscore to political elites, and also work to mitigate, the potential economic damage from a full-blown political crisis. This is the end of our program today. See you on Intervlog same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you for watching Intervlog. Thank you.